watching. If you're live with us here in the group, just leave us a comment and let us know you're live with us. We do this every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you can see us and if you can hear us, just hit the like button or type something in the chat. Let us know if you're live. If you are on live with us, if you just type the word live, that helps us to know that you're here with us live, and then we can be, kind of watching the comments. We love to interact on these videos, on these live streams. It's not like we just want to just like chat at you, like be talking heads here. We love to
Right.
see your names pop up. We like to see who's interacting, who's on with us live. But if you're watching the replay, you can also just type the word replay and let us know that you're here on the replay as well. And that helps us to know if you're watching the replay, it'll alert us later on and we'll be able to watch the comments. That way, if you have any questions that pop up throughout the training, we'll be able to answer those in the comments.
That's
So
awesome.
let us know you're here. Let us know you're on with us live. I'm excited for today, Travis. This is awesome. If you are a dance studio owner and you have failed at running ads, first of all, I would like to tell you it is not your fault. It is not an easy thing to do, but maybe in the past you've been concerned that you just can't get people in the door, get people onto the floors and taking lessons. We're going to put those fears to rest right here in the group today on this video. And, we've done a lot of extensive research into the gurus and the so-called experts and all the marketing agencies, and they all want you to think that you can't grow your studio without them. And we're here to tell you that that is just not true. And there is a lot of information out there. There's a bunch of gurus that tell you to do certain things. And we're going to just cut through all the nonsense and show you what it actually takes to fill the classes up with students. It's not that complicated, but there are definitely some ways to do it right. And there's definitely a lot of ways that you can just keep you out there spinning your wheels. But we're going to show you just a couple of easy steps that you can take right here on the live stream. It's going to be super valuable. Today is all about how to fill the classes of your dance studio using simple Facebook and Instagram ads.
Yeah, I'm excited. So if you're ready to find out what it's going to take to grow your studio, go ahead and hit the like button just so we can see, hey, you're ready to see what it's going to take to get that studio full, or drop a comment that you're ready. Just let us know you're excited to be here. Just like for your classes, right? If everyone's kind of like, oh yeah, here we are, ready to learn. Now, if people are energized and fired up for class, you get a little bit more energized. So we feed off that in the chat room. So in the chat comments. So go ahead and get those likes and comments in. Really, we've helped over 410 or really more schools at this point enroll over 28,000 paying students collectively. So, we know what we're doing. And in that, we're breaking all the rules. We're really doing the opposite of what everyone is teaching. Unfortunately for you, you've been led down the wrong path. And today is a fortunate thing because we want to give you clarity. We've watched dance studio owners really kind of bang their heads against the wall. My sister particularly talked to plenty of times about all the stress and all the things she had to do. She ran 2 studios in North Carolina. And maybe you've kind of done the same thing, trying to figure out how to fill your classes, doing everything everyone's ever told you just because you want high energy and full classes. So today we want to show you how you can do that using a simple Facebook ad. And really in that, our vision is really to build an army of studio owners that have great quality classes and performances and instruction and are known in their community for that. We just want to equip them, hopefully that's you, to get more people to experience that. And in that, we want to get you off the hamster wheel of, the random boost posts or the websites or bring a friend and buddy days and hosting birthday parties or hiring agencies to build your business for you. And then one that I know is definitely very stressful is posting relentlessly on social media. All of a sudden now you become an influencer on social media because you want to enroll some more people into your studio. So we'd love to get you off the hamster wheel of all those things: print ads, door hangers, yellow pages, all those things, to really just have a simple way to get new students and new members into your classes so you can focus on why you open your studio in the first place.
Yeah. And we know, all that stuff, there was a time that some of that stuff used to work, like the yellow pages and the door hangers. And really now it's really just kind of become a big waste of money. It's a big waste of time. We figured out a much, much simpler way. We call it the student magnet. We've already shown this to hundreds of school owners all over the world. And what we've seen is within a couple of months, they're able to start getting people in the door, getting people on the floors, learning and experiencing your classes and the transformation that you help your students with. And what's great about it is when that happens and when you're a studio owner and you're able to help more people transform their lives through dance, you're able to experience the freedom that comes with that. You're able to experience extra income. It's just awesome to see. And we just love to see that. So it looks like we got some people in the comments here, some more people joining right now. So that's awesome. Welcome in, everybody. We're getting ready to dive in. So who's ready? If you're ready to really see what it takes to transform your school, just type the word ready in the comments. Let us know if you're ready to dive in. And we'll talk about some stuff. Travis, why don't you give us a little rundown of what we're going to talk about? I'm going to start looking at the comments over here.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments coming in, so I got a little distracted because there's so many people in there, which is awesome. Well, I'm excited you're ready. So here's really what we want to talk about today. We want to get a steady flow of fresh new leads. That's really the first thing. We need to get fresh new leads coming in the door so we can convert them into members of our studio, right? It seems pretty simple, and it is pretty simple if you're doing it right. So how do we do that? Well, we want to elaborate on advertising with paid Facebook and Instagram ads, how that's going to help your school and your studio and your process and all those things grow. We want to elaborate and dive into what the best offer is right now, like what's working right now that's going to definitely result in new students coming into the studio. And then we want to really bring it all home with keeping it simple. We want to make sure all of this is a simple thing, that we don't need a bunch of bells and whistles. We don't need a bunch of shiny objects. We can do great advertising, great follow-up, and just continue to teach great classes and instruction.
Yeah, it's awesome. So again, if you guys we might be broadcasting to multiple platforms. I'm not exactly sure where we're at right now. But if you're on Facebook, leave us a comment there. If you're on YouTube, leave us a comment there. If you're on our live page, leave us a comment there and chat in. Let us know that you're here and with us and that you're ready. I'm excited. But I know there's a lot of dance studio owners, especially, that are still trying to do things kind of the old fashioned way. And it's just not the world we live in anymore. Boosting posts or relying on your website or the bring a friend thing or hiring an agency. In fact, we found it pretty difficult to even find an agency that really specializes in helping dance schools, dance studios grow. I mean, there's some agencies out there that can do like local Facebook ads, but it's pretty tough to find one that's specifically for that. So we're going to help you just avoid all that. You don't need that anyway. A lot of times what we found is that a lot of agencies can get things going, but they just don't understand the whole process of it. So we don't want you to waste money. We want you to just do something real simple. We're going to show you how that is. So running an ad, yes, it can be complicated. We've simplified the process. It's just an absolute no-brainer, easy thing. So that's our first thing that we're going to talk through today. Next thing we're going to go through is really booking what we call introductory lessons. Some people call it a tour, a studio tour, but really it's just getting a student onto the floors and taking their first class. And so that's really part two of what we're going to talk through today. And then finally, we're going to go through what we call choreographing your marketing. And that was really a process that we've got so dialed in that allows you to really advertise, and then the advertisement pays for itself. And we'll get into the details of that, but we call that choreographing your marketing. And that is really kind of what it's the crux of the whole thing.
Did you say the word tour, John? Is that how you said tour?
Tour? How
tour?
Do you tour?
I don't know. You Chicago guys. I don't know.
What do you say? Tour?
Tour. Take them on a tour.
Tour.
I don't know. I just stood out to me.
We're live, everybody.
I always got to give, this is the first time live with us, I always got to give John a hard time on these live streams. That's how we're wired in our relationship. But so choreographing your marketing so the advertising pays for itself really works together in a system, right? A lot of dance studio owners have a couple of things in place, whether it's good marketing or maybe a great follow-up, great curriculum, great rapport, but we're just missing one or two pieces. And as soon as we can really shine some light on those things, now it just really takes off, right? Just like with someone's technique, they might have a lot of good fundamentals, but if you tweak one little thing about how they're doing something, then it's just going to really take them to that next level of performance. So to dive deeper into these, and feel free to type your questions in the chat. Like we said earlier, we love with the engagement with these live streams because we want to provide value to you specifically. We'll do our best to answer live. And if you're on the replay, I can promise you, if you're on the replay and you comment your questions or thoughts, we'll definitely get notified and come back and make sure we get those answers to you too. So go ahead and type them in the chat and we'll make sure we get them answered in the comments.
Absolutely. And while you're in the comments, go ahead and leave us. I'm very curious to know, what would you say is the biggest struggle when it comes to getting students right now? So, as a dance studio owner, maybe is it just getting a steady flow of fresh leads? Maybe it's getting the ads running. Maybe you've got some ads going and they seem to be doing well. But people aren't coming in for those lessons for the first classes. Or maybe you're curious now about choreographing your marketing. Maybe you're wondering, how do you get advertising to pay for itself? Maybe you've been of the school of thought of like, you got to spend money to make money, which is true to an extent, but maybe you're wondering like, how do I get the ads to actually pay for themselves? Maybe it's something completely different. Maybe you're on here and you have a unique issue you'd like for us to talk through. We're here for you to answer those questions. So I'm very curious if you would go into the comments right now and just let us know, what are you doing right now to grow your school? What kind of things, what kind of tactics are you using? What kind of strategy do you have going on to get people in the door? And while you guys are answering that, Travis, why don't you go through some of what the mainstream maybe gurus are saying that we should be doing as dance studio owners?
Yeah, I think in order to understand what we should be doing right, we need to understand what I don't want to say we're doing wrong, but we've kind of been misled that works that really doesn't, right? So understanding what doesn't work so we can understand what is going to work, right? We need to, unfortunately, date a lot of bad people before we figure out what it is that we want, right? We need to go through some of those processes. So to save you that heartache, let's look at exactly what some of these false beliefs are. Some dance studio owners think, hey, I've tried boosting a post, or I even got into Facebook ads and they just don't work for our school. Or, I've done the paid marketing and social media stuff. I've done a lot of posting. And it just doesn't work. It gets a lot of likes and interest, or I've boosted a post. It's a waste of money. First of all, you should never, ever boost a post. You might have a great picture. You might have this great thing that you like on work, and Facebook says, this could reach more people. Would you like to give us some money? Don't do it. There's a
Yep.
better way. There's a much better way. The right way is to run a targeted ad inside of Facebook Ads Manager, also called Meta Business Ads Manager now, but it
Mhm.
used to be called the Power Editor just because it has so much power and bells and whistles and all this stuff. And sometimes that can make you feel like, oh, I have to hire an agency to do this because it's Power Editor. That sounds out of my forte. So that's led us to kind of a false belief number two, which is that I need to hire an expert or an agency, or someone in my school is really good on social media. They're really good on TikTok, or they have a lot of followers. I can just get them to do this for me and they're going to get my school going. But the truth is, there's a lot to creating a successful ad. In fact, it's pretty rare that someone that's a novice, or really honestly, even an expert, is going to get something right on the first try. It usually costs a lot of money and it takes a lot of time to figure out what exactly is going to work. Now, remember, we've done this with over 410 schools. So in that, we've enrolled about 28,000 or really more students collectively. So we've tried it, we've done it, we've ironed out all the wrinkles. So in that, it's become crystal clear on what separates successful dance studios owners to the ones that are really struggling from the unsuccessful. And I hope you guys want to hear what we found. So if you want to hear what we found that separates the successful studio owners from the ones that are just kind of struggling to get people in the door, go ahead and type in the comments a big capital yes if you want to hear what separates the success from the unsuccessful studio owners and what we found in working as experts in the industry. So go ahead and comment there and make sure you're listening, because we definitely want to share that with those who want to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the big thing that we found, and the number one thing that is a separation between the successful and the unsuccessful advertisers, is that you only need one ad, and you can literally let that ad run 365 days a year. And I know there's some different schools of thought on enrollment season and registration season, all that stuff. Believe me, the ad that you run here, you could let it run all year. If you're just die hard registration season only, you can just run it during registration season. But the fact of the matter is, you only need one ad, and you can literally just let it keep running. And we've tried just about every possible different kind of offer you can imagine. We've tried take a free week of classes, 2 weeks of classes for $29, 5 weeks for 55, have a free month, take a half price introduction, a free giveaway, maybe, like a leotard or a tutu or something like that. I mean, we have tried so many different things and we found one that works every time, 365 days a year. And that is the free week of classes. And I think one thing that people tend to worry about is that free weeks are going to attract a bunch of people who just want something for free. One of my favorite little expressions is Marley jumpers, right? They come on the Marley, come on the floor, and then they get their little free thing, and then they jump to the next studio. And what we found is that while you can understand why that might happen, it's actually a myth. And if you look at some of the biggest companies like Disney Plus, Hulu, Uber, all these big companies offer free trials. And it makes you wonder why. Why would they offer a free trial? And the answer is because it gets people hooked on great things. And I know that some people worry that doing something for free because they've done something like that, maybe on like Groupon or something like that. Groupon attracts freebie seekers, but free stuff just gets people hooked on great things. And so the way I see it is, it removes risk. It makes it easy for people who want to try it. And we've actually taught this to everybody in our student magnet, and it's such a simple no-brainer. And I know that there's probably some school owners who are worried about the Groupon thing. If you've done Groupon before, maybe you've learned your lesson. We just stay away from Groupon. Facebook and Instagram is a totally different game when it comes to the freebie stuff, and so we're not going to attract any of that with a free week if we're advertising it the right way on Facebook, Instagram, and those platforms.
Totally. Well, John, we got a lot of comments in here, and I think that really speaks to Isabel had pointed out that she gets a lot of engagement, but it's not converting, right? So how do we take that engagement and get it to convert? And I think that really speaks to it. And do you mind diving into that next part, John, as I keep monitoring these comments and helping everybody out? It's great to see the engagement. Keep it coming because we want to make sure, like Isabel, there's going to be more to that that'll help you really get that clarity on how does that convert to students. And then Andrea had a question about like, okay, I don't follow up as good as I should. And that's going to be part of this system as well. So John, if you don't mind, keep going on that. I'm sure it'll be very helpful for them.
Yeah. I'm actually having some trouble seeing the comments here. They're like running a little faster than I can keep up with. And then my screen won't go back. So if you can keep monitoring the comments, that's awesome. And then I'll just keep running through this. So essentially, I mean, the one thing is we have the highest implementation percentages in the world for our program. But not only that, we have such a high, insane success rate. Having worked with over 400 different school owners and seeing the kind of results that they're able to get across the board on our average numbers are across all 400 are better than some of the best case scenarios that we've seen out in the wild. And so I know that some people think like, well, how can I afford to give away a free week to everybody who walks in the door? Maybe you're afraid you're going to go broke, especially if you have to pay for ads on top of it. And so that's really a great question. We're going to stick around. If you stick around to the end, we're actually going to get into that exact process to let everybody, who comes. The first thing to understand is this: you're not going to give a free week away to everyone that comes in, right? But what you're going to do is you're going to actually, we'll get into that a little bit later. But first of all, I want to make sure I see we've got a ton of comments here. I'm excited about this, Travis. This is awesome to see. If you guys are getting value so far, just type the word value in the comments. Let us know that you're getting some value here. Hopefully there's some mental shifts happening. Hopefully you're like, hey, I can see this is different than what I'm used to. If you're getting some value already, just let us know that you're getting value. Just type the word value there. Awesome. I'm already seeing value coming through. It's amazing. So cool, man. I'm so excited about this, but let's do a quick recap. So we talked about the getting a steady flow of new fresh leads. And we do that by advertising with a paid Facebook ad. It's one ad for a free week. That's the best ad that's working right now. We just keep it super simple, and it works because we have a process around it. Almost anybody could probably figure out how to get in there and run an ad for a free week, but that's not the actual key to the process. That's one part of it. It's kind of like a pillar, right? If you had a stool that only had one leg on it, it's kind of hard to balance, right? We need more pillars on there to hold that thing up. And so I know a lot of people have tried it and haven't had success, but hopefully you can see how we've got this really dialed in. And if you do and you're seeing the value, just type the word value in the comments. If it's clicking for you, again, like I said, we love to see the comments. And one thing that we've learned is, we of course we love to see the engagement. We love to see people excited about stuff. It actually helps the Facebook algorithm get this out to more people. But the real secret is engagement actually helps you. So as I side trail just a little bit, the more you engage in this group, the more you're going to get out of it and the more value you're going to see out of it. And so thank you guys already for engaging and showing us some love in the comments there. It's awesome. So I'd like to jump into part 2 if that's cool, Travis, unless you want to jump
Absolutely.
in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll keep monitoring the chat and dive in. Yeah.
And if you have anything you want to add, just feel free to jump in.
Oh, you know me, I'm good at cutting people off. So you go right ahead, man.
You just did it. You just did it. Amazing. So let's talk about booking those first classes. I know a lot of the gurus out there in the marketing agencies, they really get it wrong when they say you have to be like this, some kind of relentless follow-up maniac. And they're like, yeah, you get a lead on Facebook and you got to message them and you got to call them, you got to text them, and you got to do it every single day. And you got to keep calling them until they either answer and then book that first class or they cuss you out. And the reality is that might have been a very effective way to do things like 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. But the market is maturing and people are changing and they're evolving, and people do not respond to that kind of pestering anymore. Consumers do not like it, especially moms, right? If we're marketing mostly to moms, right? If we're a dance studio owner, most of our people that are going to be most interested in what we have to offer is going to be moms. They're just fed up with salespeople bombarding them with phone calls. And I'm sure every one of you are getting your friend from college spam risk is calling you constantly, right? I know they're always calling me. Potential spam is another one that comes through all the time. Like, who needs that stuff, right? In fact, what we figured out is that because people are so bombarded and just overwhelmed with that stuff, we almost never call any of our leads. And the amazing thing about that is we use this proven method that is faster and easier to get results. And, thing is, you can try a bunch of stuff and you can try probably just like beating down people's doors to get them into your school. But the reality is, it was going to take a lot of trial and error. It's going to take a lot of stuff. It's going to require a huge fortune trying to figure it all out. And we've already done all that for you. And so maybe you're wondering like, well, I don't want to spend all this money on ads if we're just going to ignore the leads, right? And that's a great question. And it's a natural thing that might come up. But what the truth of the matter is, even though we don't call them, right? About half of them will book an appointment to come into the studio for an intro lesson. And maybe you're wondering how. And what we do is, well, actually, in the ad itself, we'll lead them to a lead form, which we capture their information. It's all done right on Facebook. They never have to leave Facebook. And then we send them right to a calendar where they can self-book. But the other thing we do that brings in a ton of appointments is we'll actually just text them about 5 times in the first week. And we'll give them the option to either book themselves through our calendar link or right over via text message. So we can just say like, what time's good for you? And then they'll book their appointment through text message. We never actually have to get on the phone with them. And maybe you love talking on the phone. Maybe you are just a fan of that. You're actually the minority right now. Most people in the world, especially moms, would much rather text to get things done. And there was some surveys done recently in the last 2 years where most people would rather text with a business too, which was really surprising to me coming from a background of advertising and marketing and all that stuff, where it was like, we're kind of the mindset of like, you've got to just keep calling people and keep pestering them. But we figured out 5 text messages in the first 7 days, you're going to book about half of your leads into appointments.
Yeah. And hopefully that gives Isabel gives you some insight into how you can really automate. So I think it was Isabel or Andrea asked about missing follow-up, right? You can automate that conversation. In fact, I was just on the phone with a school owner today, and we were kind of talking about numbers, and they actually knew someone that uses our system. And so I brought up an example because they wanted to know about the system, and someone opted into their ad for the free week to come into their studio, and they didn't take any action. So they got a text right away, and then they got a text. It was day 6 that they got a text message that the mom responded, "Do you have enough room for 4 of my children?" And it was like, yeah, come on in. They got the appointment scheduled. They're coming in later today. And I imagine, as you all know, if you get people in the door, then they're going to sign up for your program. So, really, that instructor could really just focus on teaching classes, and the automation and the follow-up took care of itself. And now they're about to get 4 new students while they were teaching classes, which is awesome. So here's what
Yeah.
we've covered so far. And if you're getting value out of this, if this is kind of opening your mind to different ways of doing things, go ahead and type value in the comments again. It just tells us, hey, are we hitting a chord? Are we helping? Because that's really why we're here. So here's what we've covered so far: getting that steady flow of leads, and then really booking intro classes from those leads. I'd really love to go deeper into the next part, which I love, is choreographing your marketing so your advertising pays for itself. So many studio owners, when it comes to advertising, things, okay, well, I need to have this huge line item in my budget for marketing. I need to have a drawer full of cash to bet, to gamble on the idea of marketing. And there's actually a way you can choreograph your marketing so it really is just going to pay for itself. It's going to be a self-funded situation. You know, unfortunately, that ability has really been masked because we tend to think, and a lot of studio owners think, I don't want to be slimy or try to sell something. I'm not in sales, and that
Mhm.
feels like, all right, if I'm collecting money for the sake of marketing, that makes me kind of like this slimy salesperson. If they come for a free week, I want to honor that. I don't want to get into a situation where I'm not being honest with people. And sometimes when we get into sales and marketing, it feels like we need to trick people into things. And that's an awful way to market. Unfortunately, there's a lot of bad marketers out there doing that. And if you trick somebody into something, it's just going to be a matter of time before they realize, I didn't even want to do this in the first place. So the truth is, you can really have an offer for someone for a free week in their street clothes, or they can have a month for $87 with a free giveaway like a leotard or a tutu or maybe shoes or something branded for your school. And really, that's just going to guarantee that 90% of the people that come in, they're still allowed to come in for the free week. But I would love to have that tutu or that leotard or whatever, because if the girl signs up anyway or the boy signs up anyway, they're going to need to go get these things. So when you present it to them in a way that it's free, they're like, yeah, I want to be a part of that month-long thing. That other one, yeah, it was nice, but this is way better. And what they're going to do is they're going to leave thanking you for the opportunity to be a part of something. So really, what that's going to do is that $87 for the upgrade is going to pay for your marketing. So we're going to advertise a free week. People are going to come in. We're going to have an honest conversation with them, totally transparent, and they're going to leave as a paying student for the studio. And you might be worried, well, there'll be a bunch of objections or excuses because they came in for that free week and now I'm asking them to pay for something. And I understand why you might think that. However, when you do this right, the way we just laid it out, you can really get 0 objections. I don't need to talk it over with my spouse. I don't need to look at the budget. I don't need to check the calendar. Or I don't need to, oh, we're really busy in the next couple. You can get rid of all of those things and just present it in a way where people see the value. They want to be a part of that value, and they make a decision to become a paying member of your studio on the first day. Then you take that revenue and that's what you use to pay for your marketing. So your marketing is being paid by the students you're marketing to, and now your school is just growing.
I love it. I love it. And I'd just love to run through like exactly what that conversation sounds like, if
Yeah,
that's all right with you guys.
definitely. I think that'll
Yeah,
provide even more value for everybody here.
absolutely. Because Isabel brought up something, a good point. She said she's had a few students complete their first session, but just before session 2, they don't say anything. They just don't show up and they disappear. We call that the dance tragedy, right? They come in for their first lesson. They leave all excited. They're like, oh, we're so excited to come back and we're going to sign up. And they know in their head that the next lesson, they're going to have that uncomfortable conversation about how much is class, what's the commitment level, how long do I have to be here, blah, 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 blah. And they're stressing themselves out, whether they do it consciously or not. They totally stress themselves out. And that's why they avoid coming in, or if you actually get a hold of them, all of a sudden, right? Dance is great. They love it. They want to come in, and then they go home and their car broke down. Their rent went up by 50%. Their husband lost their job. Like all this tragedy just happens like in between them, their first and second lesson, right? So this is why we do this. This is why we choreograph the marketing exactly the way we do. We don't give them a chance for that tragedy to hit. We do it right on day 1. So they come in for the free week, they finish their first session, and then at the end of the session, the conversation sounds just like this. You call the parent over to the floor if you finish the lesson out there and you've done a group lesson. You can do a private lesson. It works either way. But you get with mom or dad who's brought the student in and you say, hey, little Emma here did awesome in class. Did you see how great she was doing this? And she, give some genuine compliments. And then you turn to mom and you go, so I see that you're here on the free week, and that's great. Little Sophie here or little Emma here can come in her street clothes all week. No problem. Absolutely. We also have a different offer. I think it's a better offer, but I'll let you decide, Mrs. Smith. This is a full month for $87. It comes with the free leotard. That way, little Susie here feels like part of the class. And you get to take the leotard home with you tonight. And so it's up to you. You can do the free week in street clothes, no problem. Or you can also do the full month for $87. That way, little Sophie here gets more time to try it out, and she gets to take home this leotard with her tonight. Which is better for you? And then you just be quiet, right? Because two things happen. Number one, if you're teaching ballet, especially, ballerinas wear leotards, right? So as soon as she sees that leotard, she identifies herself as a ballerina. It changes so much about what she's doing, right? Or if you've got different, like maybe you're doing like hip hop dance and you've got t-shirts or matching, whatever it is, something that identifies the student as part of the class. It's such a huge thing, but it makes it so easy because everyone would rather try it out longer. Everyone would rather have a little bit more time to give it a shot. Everyone wants a little free thing to go home. That's why they came in for the free week in the first place, because they love free stuff, right? Why not let them upgrade to a better offer? Because it does two things. That second lesson now is them getting value for what they already paid for, as opposed to D-Day, decision day, right? There's no stress there. In fact, there's less stress because if it's week one and it's free, let's say you give away 1 or 2 or 3 free classes as part of that week. Well, little Emma's at home and she's doing whatever she's doing, playing video games or whatever. The second lesson comes around and you're like, it's time for dance. And she's like, I'm busy. I don't want to go. As a mom, the energy to fight with her is low. If there's nothing keeping you to go, right? You're just like, all right, whatever. She just must not have liked it as much as I thought. Even though at the end of the first class, she was excited. Mom was excited. Everybody was excited to go back. But if there's nothing holding her accountable. On the other hand, if mom just paid $87, she's like, turn the video games off, put on your leotard. We're going to dance class. I paid for a month. We're going to get our value out of it. That creates not just accountability, but it also creates a habit, right? And we know that if they get in there enough times over this month, they're going to fall in love with the class. They're going to be used to it. They're going to already feel like they joined dance. And so it just changes the mentality there. So hopefully that helps clear up that conversation and avoiding all that.
Right. And to kind of speak to that personally, when my daughter was 4, we got her involved at a local dance studio, Footprints Dance. And it was a similar type offer. It wasn't as buttoned up as we have here, but it was a similar type thing. We had actually had to go buy. We were already committed to dance. We knew we wanted to do it. My sister ran dance studios for over a decade. So we knew it was something. We knew the value of it. So we were a very warm lead, right? We were signing her up for it. But we knew that we had to go get her a leotard and stuff. So we went and bought that. But after her first class, my daughter not only wanted to sleep in her leotard, she wanted to wear it around the house because she wanted to be a ballerina and a princess. But then when like her school had like dress up day or superhero day or sports day or activity, they have these days where it's like, hey, wear something that says something about you. She wanted to wear a leotard. She wanted to wear her tutu. Those were like her go-tos for things. So it just got her like, hey, I'm a dancer now. It got her in this mindset of this is who I am and this is what I want to do, which totally shifted the mindset of what John is talking about. So I can speak to that. And I promise you, if that dance studio would have said, hey, a leotard is free with some, I would have paid even more money because I don't want to go out and find the right leotard and the right, it just would have made it a lot easier. So I can speak to that personally, how much value that had for my daughter and how much value that would have had for us if it was not offer in front of us, for sure.
One more thing, I'd love to answer a question from Isabel here as well. She asked about the pricing. So she said her school only exists for 1 day a week. And so she imagines she might want to charge less, like $20 or something. So 2 things about that. $20 is not enough, definitely, even for 1 day a week, I would say. Isabel, if you have the ability to answer quickly, what are you charging monthly? And then I'll kind of give you an idea on how we have an actual formula for how much you should charge for the trial. Believe it or not, we have a process built around that as well. Like I said, we've done this a lot. We've been doing this for a long time, and we figured it all out. But I'll give you just some kind of base numbers here. One, you shouldn't be charging less than 150 a month, and I could give you the whole list of proof and all this stuff. So she's at 150 for a 10-week session. So there you go. So I would say 150 is a good number. I'd probably 150 for 10 weeks. Oh yeah, that's way too low. We need to get that up. We need to get that up higher. You're worth more than that, Isabel. Certainly can do better than that. And most schools that we've talked to, I mean, at least at like 150 a month, even if you're just one class a week, you could be at that 150 a month because it's 4 lessons. I mean, certainly your time is worth that. So 150 a month is the minimum that we would say on that. And then 50 would be the minimum on that month trial. But the way we figure it out is somewhere between 1/3 to 2/3 of your monthly tuition is what you should charge for the trial, the 1-month trial. So if you're charging 150 a month, then you could charge between 50 and 100 for the trial. If you're charging 200 a month, yeah, I don't know the math off the top of my head. 210 would probably be easier. For that 210, you can charge between, the thing is you don't want to be over $100 on the trial. So that's one thing. You don't want to be under 50 for the trial either, because those two numbers are kind of like the low barrier, not enough value, the high barrier. That's where you start seeing objections like, I need to talk to my spouse. I need to
Right.
ask. I need to check my calendar. I need to look at my finances. None of those things exist between $50 and $100. So,
Right.
awesome. Even seeing some engagement between
Yeah.
some members in the groups. That's awesome. Really
I
cool.
love
Really
it. And kind of speaking to that, I think sometimes, especially Isabel, you have it one day a week. We think, well, my program is not as valuable as a studio that has them 3 or 4 days a week, and that's 100% not true. Um, there's not a program that you could describe that doesn't use this system and isn't charging $150 a month at least. But you also know, you understand that one day a week is actually valuable to a lot of parents. My daughter, when she did dance, it was 2 days a week, which was perfect for us. I'm going to be honest with you. She was 4 and 5. One day a week would have been amazing for her. I would have preferred. I don't want her to miss out. And I'm not going to, if it's a 2-day a week or a 3-day a week program, I'm not going to say, well, we're only bringing her one day a week because I don't want her to miss out. But if there was a program, so there's people out there that would look at one day a week as that's exactly what we want. And I'm ready to pay the value that is. So, and Andrew is kind of speaking to that as well about, definitely we can increase that. So I would as a care for you, let's not disqualify our programs for others. Let's not say no for others, because you never know what value that one day a week provides. And it's also a selling point. Hey, we can get done in one day what other studios take 4 days. Well, that
Yeah.
sounds good, because then I get my family time, right? That it's not this like lifetime commitment. And not to go on a long diatribe, but it's a really important thing. My daughter now wants to play softball, and we're hesitant because I know what softball is going to create. It's going to be a 6-day a week thing. And I'm kind of like, I love my daughter and I want to support her, but that's going to become our whole life. There's people out there that want their kids to engage in things, be successful, get high quality instruction, but also don't want it to consume everything that they are. Now, down the road, when they get older and they want to be fully committed and really get into things, then that might be a different conversation. But for right now, there's no reason you can't charge a higher value or a higher price to reflect the value that provide to the parents that want the one day a week and want to get that high quality instruction in for their kids. So,
Yeah.
sorry to go off
Absolutely.
on a tangent, but I know that's it's such a misbelief in the industry and the community that my value is totally connected to how much time I provide, and that is 100% not true. If I went to a chiropractor that could fix me in one session instead of a chiropractor that needs to see me every day of the week, the one that could do me in one session, they're getting way more money than the one that could get it taken care of in every day of the week, because my time
Absolutely.
is valuable too, and I'm willing to pay for that as well. So sorry, John, I know I went off on a tangent there, but I know it's an
No, it's
important concept that I hope everyone in this group can get some value out of.
It is. It's definitely and it's a value to the students too. And the other thing about it, since we're talking about marketing, your price is your number one marketing message. It's the first thing that people judge, how much value they're going to get out of your dance lessons. Travis and I talk about this all the time. If I were to invite you to lunch and say, "Hey, we're going to go to lunch and you're like, all right, well, how much money should I bring for lunch? And I say, oh, $5, it's all you can eat. You're gonna be like, where the heck are you taking me? Right. But if I say bring $100 is gonna, bring $100, already you're gonna be thinking, this is gonna be the best meal I've ever eaten. It better
Right.
be.
You don't even know where you're going.
Yeah. We haven't even talked about it. But if I say bring $100 for lunch, you're gonna be like, okay, this is gonna be a good lunch.
Right, and
So
the location too, Isabel, doesn't have it. My wife is a semi-pro beach volleyball player. She does private volleyball lessons. People pay her $200 an hour to practice in a tennis court. No volleyball net, no sand. They pay her $200 for a 30-minute lesson to practice in a tennis court because, again, it's convenient for them. It's right in their neighborhood. And two, they don't care. They just want the instruction.
yeah.
So again, space and time are not limitations to what you can provide the people that come in your door.
Absolutely. Yeah. And being in the school gym, I mean, dance is dance wherever it is, right? It's not necessarily, they're not paying. The value is not for your building. The value is not for your time. The value is what they learn in the class, right? And I mean, we've had school owners that were like renting space in a bounce house, like one of these places that have like a bunch of blow up inflatables, and they were hauling in all their equipment and teaching class in there and then hauling it all out. And they were able to, when they started with us, they had like 5 or 6 students. They started running their ads, and within like 2 months had like 70 students and built out their own space. So that does not, that is a barrier that we've put up for ourselves. And you can take those barriers down, because the reality is, people, if they see the value, they will pay for it. And so if you've got quality instruction and you can teach people how to dance, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Well,
So
John, can you
awesome.
recap kind of what we went over? I know we got into a lot of the weeds, which is great. That's why I love being live. But do you mind kind of recapping so everybody can kind of get reconnected to what this process looks like?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we've talked about getting a steady flow of fresh leads. We do that with a Facebook ad, which Facebook, if you don't know, is owned by Meta, which also owns Instagram. So Facebook, Instagram are kind of synonymous when we talk about them. Getting a fresh flow of steady leads, booking those introductory sessions, and then choreographing your marketing so that it pays for itself. It all works together in a system. And, maybe you're like, this is amazing, guys. I love this. It looks great. But like, how specifically do you do this? Maybe you're thinking, how do you fill the classes up with students? What does the ad look like? Well, how do I get in there and set all this stuff? How do I get students? How do I automate the process? What if I were to tell you that we already had systems and processes built in around this exact thing for you? Maybe you're really, maybe you're really like, you know what? I'd love to put $100 in and get $1,000 out, because that's pretty much, the typical thing that we see in our schools. They put in 100, they get out about $500 to $1,000 from their ads. It's about a 5 to a 10x return on their investment on their ads. And what if I were to tell you that we already have a strategic plan on how to carry all that out? Systems, processes already in place for you to just plug right into your studio. And maybe you have questions like, well, how do I get leads? How do I do the advertising? What's working best? How do I keep it simple? All that stuff. The choreographing your marketing piece. Maybe you're just kind of like figuring out like, where are the pieces? How's that all fit together? Well, we have some invitations that we'd love to send out. I can see you're giggling over there. I think Palmer.
No, I'm going to be honest, John. I totally forgot we were live for 2 seconds because the love of my life, my daughter came in from school.
I knew it
I
was.
gave her a little wave, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm live." So my daughter just came home, and that got a big smirk because she's giving me looks.
I knew what it was. I could tell the look on your face anytime Palmer walks in the room. It's like, that's the Palmer look. So for those of you who are on watching with us live, thank you for being on here live. We would like to invite you to get on a quick call with us. We call it a game plan call. And really, if you are looking for ways and strategies to get more people into your classes, maybe you're not sure exactly how to do that. Maybe you're struggling to get a new fresh flow of leads coming in every day, every week, every month, or booking intro sessions, or how to choreograph your marketing so that the ads pay for itself. Maybe it's just 1 or 2 of those things and you've got a couple of those already dialed in. We actually want to help you. That's why we're here. That's why we run this group. We want to help you get to a place like where our members are, where they're just like living this freedom and a life beyond probably what they even wildly dreamed about before. And if you would like to grow your studio with a proven way to fill the classes, just type the word game in the comments right now. We're going to be watching the comments here. And when you type the word game, what's going to happen is GAME, type the word game, and we will reach out and we're already working with a bunch of school owners already, and this is working like crazy. And we can give you lists and lists and lists of people who have used the program to really fill up their schools. One in particular that I was just thinking of was Maxwell, who was the guy that was he was renting floor space in a like kids bounce house gymnasium, like a trampoline place, I guess. And they had floor space that he could use, and was able to grow to 70 from 5 students to 70 students in 2 months. So those, I mean, that's an incredible result. But we've also had school owners who have, 100 students and want to get to 200 students and have been able to do that in the course of 6 to 12 months. So it's really, really been awesome to watch this stuff. So if you would like to learn what they're doing, just type the word game in the comments. And by the way, we do not enjoy like selling people or convincing people to get involved in our program. So when you're on that game plan call, there's absolutely nothing for sale. You literally physically cannot buy anything on that call. And we set it up that way on purpose because we would prefer that you ask us about our program than for us to be kind of chasing you down and begging you or trying to convince you or anything like that. Like, we're not into that. So if you get on this call, you're going to find out real quick that this is not a typical type call with gurus or anything like that. We specifically would love to give you a game plan and how to do some of these things, but we also are going to ask you, like, what challenges are you running into? What problems are you having? And then from there, if the program seems like a good fit, we can talk about that later. But what we really want to do is give you a game plan and help you figure out where you need to be. And a lot of times what we'll find is that you're not ready. And so we'll point you towards some like free resources, or maybe even refer you off to someone else. We've met a lot of people in the community that might be able to help you better, but we're really just about helping equip studio owners to get students into class. And so if that's you and you're interested in that, just type the word game in the comments. We'll reach out. I see we've already got a bunch of comments for game. And so excited about that. If you're on the replay, you can also type the word game and we will definitely reach out as well. We've opened up some time on our calendars to be able to talk to you. You'll probably hear from either myself or Travis or Ignacio, who's our program director inside the group.
I was going to say, if you guys see a gentleman named Ignacio send you a message, he's our program director. He really is an expert at figuring out, hey, is this a good thing that we need to talk deeper at, or is there a better direction? So you'll probably see a message coming from Ignacio. So Andrea, for example, had questions about her enrollment process. The game plan call is going to be great for that. Ignacio knows exactly what to look at there. So we can figure out, hey, should we dive deeper into those weeds and take a look at it?
Absolutely. Yep. And really what we're interested in is just to find out what's going on in your studio, what part of the process you might be missing, what challenges you might be facing. It's really just a place for us to learn about how we could help. And then we're going to go through an actual game plan of what steps you can personally take to start improving the enrollment at your dance studio. And really just so you understand where our hearts are and like kind of what we're interested in. We're not looking for like the get rich quick, do nothing, and get paid type school owners. Some people call her the Dolly Dinkle type schools. That's not really going to be an effective way for us to help anybody. If you don't have good classes and you're not providing good value, this isn't going to be a good fit. You probably aren't in the group already. Anyway, we've got a pretty strict process of inviting people. So, if you somehow snuck into this group and you run a crummy school, don't bother booking the call. But if you are a passionate studio owner who loves serving the community and you have a great curriculum, then you are definitely in the right place. You should definitely comment the word game right now. So as we start to wrap up here, I just want to leave one more invitation. If you need a strategy on how to get students, if you need a system on how to grow your studio, or maybe how to fill the classes, maybe you're just wondering how you can get that 5 to 10x return on your ad spend within that first 6 weeks, let's say, type the word game in the comments right now and we'll reach out. You're going to get a ton of insight on this. It's going to be a valuable call, and you'll leave this call with just an insane amount of clarity. Even if we don't move forward past that game plan call, you're going to get so much clarity out of this. So And really you'll learn too if it's going to be a good fit for you, if we're going to be a good fit, if you'll be a good fit for us. And so the final time I'm going to say it, just want to type the word game in the comments right now, and we'll go ahead and reach out. And for going a little long, I think it was a pretty valuable live stream, Travis. So
Yeah.
thank you guys. Thanks everybody for joining us here live, and thank you for joining us on the replay in the future. So I hope you got some value out of this. I hope you enjoyed it, and definitely drop any comments or anything you need in the chat, and we'll be monitoring that as well. That's all we got for you today. So we will see you back here next Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern right here in the group. So I hope you all have a great day, and we will see